Hi.
Hello.
Uh, Today we follow up on the previous stream where we talk about what we're currently busy with.
Yep.
Basically, lots of talking, lots of tweaking, lots of discussions about different mechanics to make sure that everything is.
Everything is working
Yes,
as
and
we want.
that we remove the complicated things before we actually implement them in the game and then realize they're complicated and then take them out. So we're trying to uh, put ourselves into the future in the mind as much as possible and then see what works and what doesn't, and then give up on the stuff that doesn't work. Some of the big changes we've made this week is that only 9 skills remain with the characters.
Yep. We've reduced 3 crafting ones.
So we have
it's 2 crafting and healing, but anyway.
So we keep astrology, herbology, and geology, which are the skills you use to explore and collect items outside of the world.
Mostly we have now skills that are useful in exploring the map, and all skills that were connected to the Spire. Spire do it itself.
Yeah, so for characters, that's social magic, fundamental magic, practical magic, destructive, protective, and practical.
Yep.
6 magic skills that remain with the characters in addition to the 3 exploratory skills. For the Spire, we keep alchemy, artificing, and healing, but they're not skills. It's just something that your Spire does through the rooms. You can upgrade the rooms, but you don't need to have any characters in the Spire to perform those actions. Also, things happen immediately in the Spire, so you don't need to wait for a couple of weeks to make a sword. We just saw no fun and no value in making people wait and pay with their time.
Previously, we had 2 parts of our game. Well, the one part is exploring, and the second part is spending some time in Spire. And we couldn't find the fun part in spending time in Spire. Mostly, it just skipping turns, just to
time management.
Yes, just to make things done. There were a part with managing your team, who will go out and who stays in the Spire, but still, it's not always work. And
it's like we understand that there are games like that, and some people like it, but we just couldn't feel any passion to this part of the game where you just click and click and click and move and click and wait and okay.
When you have a whole game of exploring and doing something, the downtime in Spire is just wasting your time.
It was uninspired.
Okay. Pun jokes.
What else? Research is gone, and that fixed the big hole in the lore, because in the lore it looked like everyone has a memory problem because people live in Rund, but they don't know any diseases, they don't know the names of the minerals, they don't know the names of the animals. So we fixed that. There's no longer any research. You just have to reach a certain level to be able to do this, and then upgrade your Spire to access.
It still depends. With magic, you have your trees where you want to put your resources and magic into, and to get some pack of spells. With artificing and healing, with artificing and alchemy studio, you have receipts that you gain by upgrades. With healing, you just increase your efficiency in healing. And with monstrology, herbology, and geology, you just need to find this resource on the map, and then you can do
whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Yes.
A lot of discussions that we had happened around the travel to and from the Spire, and the fact that we feel that you should always be balanced on desire to go and explore another region versus the need to go back to the Spire and recharge, heal, pick up new items. And as we progress from early to late game, things change. We're no longer afraid of making things like teleporting items or creating portals. And right now, we plan to transition the game experience from early game to late game. To give an example, at the beginning you start and go and forage for stuff and bring it back to the Spire. Later on you're able to teleport things, so you don't have to return. And later on yet, you're able to grow plants, animals, and minerals in the Spire. So you don't even have to go and collect them and send them back, but you just get them at the Spire. We think that this reflects our own vision of keeping the game evolving until the very end, so you don't have to do the same thing as you did.
Yeah, so we want this, and if we will feel that something in the mid game or in the end game happens and it's still it's too overwhelming, then we'll try to think of some ritual or maybe some new mechanic that will help to get rid of this.
Yeah, we consciously move towards removing the boring and mundane parts, and if we need to add certain ritual, then we're gonna do it. For the rituals, all the rituals are performed by the Spire, and we have Resurrect Dead, and we have Exploration, and we have Teleporting, and we have Opening Portals, and so on and so on. What else is new? On Friday this week, we're testing with a board prototype, all the current concepts, in a bigger test than we had a couple of weeks ago.
Previously, we've prototyped only events. Now we want to try to play the exploring part, getting resources, some maybe upgrading, crafting, balancing your magic energy in Spire, because right now almost everything you should buy with magic in your Spire, so it's the most the main requirement to balance it. So we want to see how it goes with this prototype and events, of course, because we've reworked events. We've for 2 weeks we've struggled with thinking of some skill checks that we use in our events, and we've came to the system where you can
every skill has 3 skill checks.
So every skill besides battle and protective, because
destructive and protective magic.
Destructive and protective, because destructive and protective is already important skills that you will need in battles. So we don't want to encourage to put all your experience into these parts. That's why all skill checks are in other skills. So we have 7 other skills, all have different skill checks, and all the skill checks are used in different sorts of events. So basically in events you need to choose your specialist with this skill check, and you can see on the scale usually from 1 to some number that means difficulty of this event. And if you have the maximum one, for example, the difficulty is 5, and you have the specialist with 5 skill check, then everything is okay, you pass this event. If you have a specialist with skill check of level 3, then you will have some consequences. And these consequences are works like this. There are some bullets, it's some consequences cards, and we
consider it to be a set of misfortunes. And if you, for example, fail in this event, then you get 3 misfortunes out of this set. It could be loss of hit points, it could be a poisoning, could be a disease.
It could be loss of turns, it could be damage to your equipment. So different choices. You'll have different options in events, and that's not always differ on skill checks, but it's different consequences too.
You don't always know the consequences, but you know the level of risk. So you know that you're attempting something very risky, which will bring you 5 rolls of misfortunes specific to this danger zone. So once we were done with skills and skill checks, we now have a clear vision for the alchemy, the equipment, and the spells that we need to make it work, as well as the events. And that's what we were testing on Friday. And if we succeed, then the following week we begin the actual development and making that concept into the video game that you guys have. So we have 2 parallel sort of efforts going on, maybe three. One is the map, which we move into 2.5D. You can see on Discord already the early current experiments, and we think it works great. So the map will look differently. It gets some volume.
We have a perspective there. We have some volume in our locations and different aspects of biomes. So it looks nice.
And part of our team will start working on making that beautiful. Because by now there's no doubt that hexes are here to stay. So let's say not the hexes, but the hex-based organization of the map. We don't think we'll show you hexes all the time.
Yeah, maybe we will show it on with some with some mode or with some button. Yeah. Just to make it more convenient, but
by default, we don't think we'll throw the hexes right in front of your face. And the second part of the team is going to start on the actual game mechanics and logic and building up the systems that we need to bring this to life. So for us, this Friday is important, and if that test is successful, then it's all clear to working on the big update that we're going to ship to you eventually. We don't have any timelines. We don't want to give any promises, but that'll be the main focus of all of us here, that we're done with design, we're done with prototyping, it works, and then off we go. We'll know on Friday or probably on Monday. It's going to be a long day on Friday. And that's about it for today.
That was quick.
That was fine. Okay. See you guys next week.
See ya. Bye.